I woke up, startled by the light coming in through the window. I squinted, trying to make out the scenery. After a few seconds of adjusting, I stood up, rather confused. This was a completely unfamiliar location. A bit startled, I walked over to the window. The view was quite spectacular, with the sun beaming over the tall pine trees, and although I was very warm, I felt cold. I had no idea where I was. Is this a dream or untasteful joke? I asked myself. I searched my pockets for a phone or any evidence to where I was or how I got here in the first place. The room I was in was lovely, which calmed me down a little. It was very 60s, with white walls and big windows and a solid steel bed. I decided to look around. Surely someone must be here with me, or maybe I could find a phone so I could use. I opened the door and it creaked open. The hallway had a wooden floor and there was a big window at the end of the corridor that emitted a lot of light. "Hello?" my voice echoed. "Is anyone there?" Emptiness filled the hallway. I pressed on. There were 3 doors down the hallway. I decided to go through all of them as curiosity was getting the best of me. I opened the first door. The already familiar to me creak welcomed me to the bathroom. Like the rest of the house, it was very dusty, but in really good condition. It was greenish blue, again very 60s. I opened the mirror cabinet and inside were pills. The expiry date read the 1st of the 2nd, 66. This unnerved me a little. What was going on here? I decided to press on, desperate for answers. I opened the second room and it looked like a master bedroom, much bigger than the one I woke up in. There was a dusty king-size bed that took up the large part of the room. There was a balcony too. I decided to open the balcony door and have a look. It was locked. That's when I realized all the windows were locked. I decided to test the theory by going back to the room I woke up in. Again, locked shut. Then I heard a big bang. My body froze. After a few seconds, I finally regained the courage to move once more. The noises seemed to be coming from downstairs, but I was not done exploring upstairs. Whatever it was, I didn't want to see. I opened the last door in the empty corridor. It was an office, with an office-like door. Inside was a desk and a wooden board. Stuck on the board were newspaper articles, to be precise. There was red strings connecting the articles together, the kind of stuff you see on TV. The articles read, 4 dead in a house. Another said, entire family gone missing. I did not react to this until I saw the next article. Entire family murdered in their home. The picture was of a house. This house. I could recognize it from the shape of the windows, the balcony and the surroundings. I was completely puzzled and worried, but adrenaline was keeping me from panic and complete terror. There must be some sort of radical explanation for this, right? But the last thing I wanted to do was stay in the office. As I was leaving, I grabbed a wooden leg of a broken chair in the office. I wanted some sort of weapon to hold on to, a sense of security. As I left the office, I remembered the big bang downstairs. Knowing what I know now, going downstairs was the last thing I wanted to do, and although I was scared, I knew I had to go down since there was no way out. Could not call for help. I was in the middle of nowhere. Rather reluctantly, I stepped on the stairs and slowly made my way down. The stairs creaked loudly, and my heartbeat increased significantly. As I went down, the air felt colder. I tried to shrug it off as a placebo. My brain must be playing tricks on me. When I made it downstairs, I made a discovery. My blood turned ice cold, and I could not breathe for a second. I looked out the windows and it was pitch black. "What the?" was the only words that came out of my mouth. Thinking that was some sort of trick, I rushed upstairs and yes, it was definitely dark. But how was it possible, I thought? Just a second ago it was morning. I saw the sun rising. The terror rose. It was like being stuck in a nightmare, but felt so real. I decided to descend the creaking stairs once more. When I reached the bottom, I gripped my weapon tightly. There was a sitting room, and there was a TV. It played static in the corner, and the fireplace lit the majority of the room. To add to my worries, the fireplace was definitely not on when I made my way down the first time. "Hello?" I yelled. Nothing. I looked around the sitting room, desperately looking for some answers. Beside the TV, I found a flashlight. I gripped it in my free hand. Bang! I froze once more, before carefully turning around. It came from the other room. I slowly inched towards that room, took a deep breath, swung the door open, shining my flashlight at the dark, cold room. I stopped, and my stomach turned. I was very close from throwing up. I dropped to the floor. Inside were 4 bodies, laying lifelessly on the floor, their necks massacred by a knife. The smell was absolutely rancid. Scared for my life, I ran straight towards the glass door and went straight through it. I needed to get out now. Glass particles penetrated my skin, the adrenaline keeping me going. I looked down and saw blood pouring from my body. I turned around to see if anything followed me, but then, as I turned around, I froze. The house was no longer there. I was confused and terrified, speechless. There was nothing on my mind. The world right now was silent. That was perhaps the scariest thing. No wind, no movement, nothing. It's hard to imagine hearing nothing and thinking nothing, but that's exactly what it was. I turned around and let out a petrified scream. Written in blood was, "Your family's next, good luck." Just as I read this, I heard rustling of leaves, followed by what felt like a large metal object hit my head before I could react, and everything went black. I woke up with a pulsating pain in my head. I slowly panned around my room. It was my room. Relieved that it was just a dream, I called for my wife and heard no answer. I stood up slowly and saw that I was still covered in blood. Millions of thoughts were rushing through my head. None of them made sense. I searched around my house. On the fridge there was a note from my wife saying, "I'm gone with little Theo and Lizzie. I'll be back around 6. Exhaled a breath of relief. I looked around the house once more. My memory was slowly coming back to me, yet I still had so many unanswered questions. I wanted to scream, but I didn't even have the energy to do that. I got myself together, changed clothes, grabbed my phone, laptop, wallet and car keys, and stormed out of the house. I drove to my favourite cafe just outside of town, constantly looking behind me, making sure I was not being followed, and ordered a large coffee, and proceeded to sit down. I decided to do some research about the things I saw in the house. The office room, to be precise. For what seemed like forever, I scavenged the internet, and after an hour, I had what I was looking for. Articles about murdered families, and there was again, that godforsaken house. This couldn't have been a dream. How would I know about this? I've definitely never read about it or heard about it. It's way before my time. The killings were not officially related, like the war on the board, but they all had some specifics in common. All of the killings that the entire family murdered, sooner or later, they all had their necks cut, and the killer was never found in any of the articles. The weird part, they were all separated by year. The reasons why they were not linked is because they happened at drastically different years. The house that I was at was the first documentation, and it dated in 1966. The next house was in 1975, the next 1989, and the next 2002. The latest one was 2010. I'm completely lost and confused, but one thing is certain. I must protect my family at all costs.